Welcome to Fishing for Bees. This is my YouTube channel on swarm catching and beekeeping. A little bit about us. We're in Grand Rapids, Michigan area. Today we're north of Grand Rapids in Cedar Springs, and we also have a nuke yard down in Grand Rapids. We've never purchased bees. We've never bought a queen. We've never split a colony. I'm not against any of those things. We just simply haven't had to. Swarm catching keeps providing us with the expansion that we want. My goal in this yard has always been to have 8 colonies. And when we've had that in the past, I've given away 10 frame colonies in our other yard in the spring. That didn't happen this year. We had close to 70% losses. Normally we have a 70% success rate. So anyways, if any of that interests you, please like and subscribe. We're going to do a video with quite a bit of stuff today. So this is our production yard. These 3 were catches from 2024. They came up here as 10 frames. We've already expanded 2 of them into 20 frames. Those are our only surviving colonies from this production yard last year. So one of them I had to knock down to just give them a better chance of building up. 20 frames was too much space for them to manage, and they will struggle and they will get disease. So I have a video on it if you're interested. Today we are going to, first of all, bump these 2 10 frames back up to 20 frame. I'm pretty confident that that one's recovered, and this one should be at a good level to be able to be bumped up to 20 frames. What we've done is we've taken our dead outs and set up 10 frame boxes to go on top of these. And how we set them up is we put worker drone dry frames, the driest we can get, in the center, and then pack out on the honey on the outside edges. That's the way they want it. That's the way we're going to give it to them. The goal is for her to come up there after they've cleaned those cells and immediately lay up those 5 frames in the middle with new brood to build these colonies up to get them in honey production. We want to run all of them this year in 20 frames for honey production. In the past, I've put queen excluders on colonies this size and gone right into honey production. So that brings us to our next task after that. For the taller ones, we're going to check them for swarm cells. We're going to check and make sure these top boxes are at about 80%. And then we're going to add honey supers. I'm not going to go with queen excluders. I do have them on me. I haven't decided yet. The reason why I brought them is because I still contemplated maybe going into honey production with these to capture the black locust. So this is far enough north of Grand Rapids that the black locust is not productive yet. I actually see one off in the distance there. So that's why we're up here. We want to get these honey supers on before that happens here to capture the honey flow. So we're going to start with the small ones. Let me get some gear and we'll crack them open. Okay, so I don't believe I said it's May 31st. We're not going to smoke right away. I want to see how the bees' behavior is. I already see the indication that they need room. Look what they've done to the top. They seem a little spicy. Let's see how they respond to the smoke. Fortunately, that's going to have to go. Always carry a Tupperware container with you. I've seen beekeepers just fling this stuff all over their yard. This one is not without concern of swarming. One of these colonies, we're going to check for swarm cells. Certainly there could be queen cells in other areas. Hopefully you saw that one. That one's loaded. The other 2 were not. Now we're going to take a close look up inside here. And if you find it difficult, a flashlight helps a ton. It's not perfect. Oh, and here's one I would have missed. Couple I would have missed. Charged. There's another one. If I wouldn't have moved that burr comb, I wouldn't have saw it. coax them to come to this top box. There, they're in the top box. So I was a little concerned about the frames that we gave to this one. I didn't show them, but a lot of these frames have a lot of crystallized honey or sugar syrup in them. In my last video, we had a colony here with 3 deeps. Those are the frames that went inside of here. Some of them have crystallized honey or crystallized sugar syrup, whatever they were fed. And these bees are going to have to clean them out. They're not consuming the crystallized. Maybe they'll do something with it inside it, but in a robbing situation, they'll overlook it. They don't like it. So I'm assuming the same inside the colony, but I don't know for sure. One of the concerns was giving them too much to deal with. I don't have that concern anymore. That's a lot of bees in there. They'll make quick work of this top one very, very soon. There's one queen cell. They don't have in reserve what I'd like to see going on in here. So right here, one queen cell charged. Charged meaning it has larvae in it. I forgot because I was concerned about them, I gave them a fondant to finish off. Oh yeah. It just didn't look that good from the bottom. Of course, I did put smoke down there, right? So it pushed them this way. So one of the things I want to mention, adding a box of drawn comb such as that, and adding a box of undrawn comb that you're trying to get drawn out is 2 different things. They can ignore it. You could put a brand new box, whatever you choose, plastic foundation, starter strips, a brand new box on top of here. They could choose to ignore it and still build swarm cells and swarm and never utilize that top box. The reason why this is different is because it's drawn comb. It already has all the smells, all the goodness that they want. I got this board that I'm going to bang in there. So this was the box I took from them. I wanted to make sure they got it back so that our colonies are labeled. This has always been colony 1. As I said, our longest living colony. Never requeened. Never split. I believe they've superseded successfully at least twice, and they're going into their 5th season. Ant. Too much. That's starting to get to an area where there's some concern. Again, they're not on the inside, but I'm putting a honey super on. So we're going to put and set up our bait stations. So a quick little cutaway that we're going to insert in here because we saw the ants and I talked about that I would like to do something about them. I have a video on a homemade recipe using boric acid and sugar and water. But in a pinch, when I don't want to mix anything up, I just buy a bait station, your household bait station. So I'm not saying use this product. I'm not saying use any product. Use one that's got a good name and that you have confidence in. And same with my homemade recipe, put it inside these deli tubs. These deli tubs have holes drilled in them so that the ants can get in, but the bees cannot. And with my hive stands, because I use the cinder blocks, I just simply tuck them in the cinder blocks out of the rain. It's not a huge concern with the rain because I do have the lids. Put a rock on them or whatever. The ants enter it. They take the bait and the poison back to their colony, and you kill the colony. One of them had a problem I didn't like. I wouldn't say either one of them are of major concern yet. They're not inside the colony, but because I put the honey supers on and they got more space to defend, we're going to set these up. So I usually put one of these for 8-foot section. That's 16 feet up there. And I'm just going to set them again under the cinder blocks, and the ants can enjoy them. And just like that, we are in honey production. These are currently 10 frames spaced. Normally I run a 9 frame. I'm just starting them this way. I don't like to smoke in my honey supers. But there's a way you can do this without crushing a ton of bees. One of the things I do is I put the rocks back on the ones I've already done, because sometimes when you're here it can be a little confusing on where you've been, what you've done, if you're not doing it in order of, left to right or right to left. So that helps me out. All right, so we said we weren't going to show you them all, but I wanted to show you these that are at different stages, right? These are dry, practice, maybe soon to be laid up, but there's some other things you got to pay attention to, especially when you're using starter strips. Your plastic foundation, they'll want to draw them all the way to the end, but look here. You got to use a flashlight. You're going to miss these. Bees, these girls are good. Again, this is 2024 swarm catch. Last year's swarm catch. I don't know where, I don't know when. That came here as a 10 frame and then was boosted to a 20 frame thanks to some dead out equipment. It's another reason why they've progressed so far so quickly since the last visit, is because they were given drawn comb, they were given honey frames. Same as I said before, 5, you want to keep the 5 in the middle that they can use immediately, the dry comb, and then honey on the outside. And man, it just boosts them so fast. These things, they haven't missed a beat. I like that the swarm cells aren't as advanced. That was a drone. Again, if you're unsure, take it out. I think they're ready for a honey super. Holy cow. So I put another piece of burlap in the smoker for fear that it was starting to push out hot smoke because it's burned down. We've been using it a while. You got to be careful of that. So I don't get confused. One of the things about putting weights on your colonies that somebody pointed out to me very early on, and I appreciate it, a long time ago in the comment section, is don't just put a brick in the middle, or don't just put a heavy weight in the middle. That's a good way to get everything to warp. So I started doing this with field stones to the outside edges in heavy winds or anything like that. They keep it down perfect, and then they also don't warp. They actually encourage it not to warp. So don't just put a weight in the middle. That one we know is charged. This one's charged and capped. Charged. 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 To quote Mike Berry, this is a vlog on how I keep bees. This is risky. Those were really, really supercharged cells. Population still looks good. That they did not swarm yet. So lighter in this bottom brood box is actually a good thing. It likely means it's more laid up with brood and not being stored for use for resources. And a nice honey barrier, this box being on top before your honey super, will encourage that queen to stay out of your honey super. It's not perfect, but a nice honey rainbow, a nice honey barrier, she's less likely to cross a bunch of honey than she is just to stay in an area she can continue to lay. Much easier box to move. Entrance reducers are going. Robbing rocks are going. They're all over the back here. This is going to be hard to push. I'm pleased. More swarm cells than I wanted, especially at farther stages along. That's concerning. You could still knock them down and they still swarm. Taking the existing queen with them and leaving no queen behind. You can see how that can be a problem. Because I crushed them all. Hopefully I crushed them all. If they still swarm, hopefully I didn't crush them all and I forgot one. Then that'll work out just fine. But we're trying to capture the early spring honey flow here. It's not easy. My best year was 57 gallons with 3 colonies in honey production at the start of the year, which I believe was a black locust year. So that's pretty good. We'll continue to work with this plan. And I'm going to set up another swarm trap on this property, away from that one, away from here. I'm not going to put it on this stand. I'm just going to put it on a table 30 yards away and around a corner, so not visible from here. And we'll just leave it sitting there. I got one bait comb for it. I'm glad I reserved that one bait comb. And it's just going to be one of our 5/5s. It's not even a swarm trap, so it's going to be a 5/5 with an entrance reducer. And we're going to roll with it just in case a second one gets away from us. Usually that first one, it doesn't happen often, but it has happened where one has gotten away from us. And I'm confident that that one will still catch it. But judging by all them swarm cells and even these 10 frames, I need to set up another trap just to be safe. So won't bother showing you that. We'll show it on another visit, or maybe I'll put it at the end here. Just a quick picture. And thanks for coming along. I hope your bees are well.